Mm-hmm.
Hello, fermented folks.
We have P. Jelly Clark.
All Makatsu.
We have Travis Baldry.
Today we have a really special guest, Leopoldo Gout.
Are you reeling it in and defending clowns?
I am. Earth doesn't even exist in Battlestar Galactica.
This show me heartburn. I was like, I loves it. I hate it.
It's called All Fluff.
Oh!
If you didn't know how I actually feel about The Mandalorian,
Don't worry.
this is it right here.
Yeah.
Hello, fermented folks, and welcome to another episode of Fermented Fiction, the show where we debate the best movies, books, shows in the genre fiction realm with our distinguished guests. Said guest tonight is Jonny Gensler. Jonny, thanks so much for being on the show, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm great today. This is I'm in Colorado. It's blue sky. It's like late spring. I wish we had more snow, but I'll take blue skies over gray skies. So
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Really happy to be here.
Hell yeah, man. We're really happy to have you. I love Colorado, too. That's one of the best states in the union for sure. So, yeah, I'm glad you're out there soaking it up and enjoying it. Seems like people who are from Colorado just love being from Colorado. I haven't met many people who don't like it. But, I mean, you could probably correct me on that. I'm sure you know plenty of people.
There are people that find things to complain about to other Coloradans, but not to people other places.
Yeah,
No.
right.
I mean, I think people here are generally happy. We got a lot of sunshine, not very much oxygen, which those two things combined, I think, for a general congenial attitude, friendliness.
Helps
It's the
the
West
vibe.
too, so it's a little bit of a different pace than you get back east. Or
I feel like a lot of states in the West are like that. It's almost like your sibling, where it's like you'll talk shit about your sibling, but as soon as someone's like, "Hey, your brothers are blah blah blah," it's like, "Hey, shut the." Like that's
Yeah,
my brother.
watch it. You watch it.
You watch it.
I know that, but you're not allowed to say it.
exactly right.
That's right. That's right. And we feel that same way about fermented fiction. So those of you out there talking trash, you watch it. You watch it, all right? We're going to talk trash about each other on here, though. You can guarantee that. We'll do that in our debate segment especially, but we're going to start with our usual round of personal introductions. Then we'll finish with you, Jonny, so that you can introduce yourself and tell the good fermented folks where they might be able to find you and what you got coming out and all that good stuff. Jeremy, we'll start with you. What's going on?
I am. You've caught me smack dab in the middle of the worst time of the year, which
Sure.
is time hangover season.
Mhm.
Otherwise, this would be just a lovely time of year. The most wonderful time of the year, some people might say. Some people call it Lent. I call it fish taco season. But they stick a little time change in there. Ruins the whole thing. I'm not in the mood.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Don't forget when MSNBC called it Mark Wahlberg's 40-day challenge.
I love fish taco season. What did you give up for Lent, Jeremy? Anything specific?
Well, me and my wife have decided to not eat out for all of Lent. So I'm cooking a lot.
And saving money.
Oh, yeah.
And saving money.
Bozeman Little Caesars, bottom line, is going to feel that.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to feel that
No
big time.
idea. Oh, man. You can't even imagine. Easter rolls around. We're springing for Little Caesars.
Our profits are down 12%. What happened?
The
Hudsons aren't eating out for Lent.
Hudsons sometimes happen. It's perfectly natural. We're no trouble this time of year.
I love it.
Travis, how you doing? What's going on?
Good. I'm doing good. I've had several athletic aha moments in the past 2-3 weeks that I guess will be my update. So I box, not professionally just for fun. I did it once, amateur, and it was very fun, but my wife was not a fan. So I haven't been back in the ring since, understandably so. But I had something click where the stance got compared to like a Greco wrestling stance, and that for some reason just made me be like, oh, that makes all the sense in the world, and now I'm punching better, so that's cool. And then the other one was, I don't know what high school lifting coach taught me a long time ago that when you squat, you like put your eyes up, and I've been doing that my whole life.
Yeah.
And today I had my coach at the gym that does the strength and conditioning for the fighters. I was like, can you watch my form and tell me what I'm doing wrong? And he was like, oh, try looking at a 40-degree angle down like you do on a deadlift, which, by the way, I hadn't been doing on deadlift either. I've been also
You're like, yeah,
up.
totally, like I do on that.
Yeah, so I changed
Duh.
that for
Obviously.
both lifts, and it was life-changing. Like, I feel so much better, and I'm like, this sucks that I've been doing this wrong since I was 14 years old. But it's also awesome that I can now do it right. So
Great.
Yeah, glad you got it figured out.
Yeah.
And then for me, I'm gonna just say I guess this is less personal and more in the professional realm, but I'm excited because Jonny is on the show today, and this is the first time that we've had an author who I've been published with on the show. So last year, Jonny and I both got published in the Midnight Labyrinth anthology from Grendel Press. His story, Into the Catspaw, and that is how you say it, right? Into the Catspaw.
Into the Catspaw. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Catspaw. Yep. So Into the Catspaw, which is great. And then my story, My Name is Kendra, which is a story featuring our mom's name. So that's a good time. Are both in there. And it's a really fun anthology. I'm trying to remember what the exact prompt was. You had to have a book called The Midnight Labyrinth in your story. And you had to have like a door to an alternate reality or another dimension of some kind.
That was it.
That was it, right? That was the whole prompt?
That was the prompt.
Okay. Yeah. I thought for some reason there might be a third component, but it was really fun. There's lots of great stories in that anthology. So if you're into like short story collections and you like horror mixed with like dark fantasy and dark sci-fi, I mean, there's everything in there. Johnny's has sort of a military bent to it. Mine is very much like an emotional, psychological, dual kind of like realities being lived, and a book that like eats people's wishes, like an evil genie kind of. So yeah, it's fun. I definitely recommend going and checking out The Midnight Labyrinth from Grendel Press if you like that kind of stuff. Both Jonny and I have a story in it. So it's just cool to have you on, Jonny, because we haven't had another author on that we've been in an antho together before.
Mark it down. Maybe it won't be the last time.
Yeah, I'm marking it. I hope that is certainly the case. And while we're talking about that, Jonny, you've got a lot of short stories out there, including stuff in Cosmic Horror Monthly and all over the place. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are as a writer, who you are as a person, where people can find you?
Of course. Well, I'm an old Army vet. I served in the Iraq War 20-some years ago, got out of the Army, ended up going to grad school. I worked in tech. I worked in like clean tech, solar and batteries, energy efficiency. I ran my own business. I worked in business for like 15 years when I got out of the Army, and had a wide array of experiences, working for large companies, working for small companies, working for the government, doing some nonprofit work. And then in 2019, my dad passed away, and I started, I went to therapy to deal with my grief, and my therapist suggested I start writing my memories of my dad down, which turned out to be a really helpful idea. And that exercise brought me back to writing, which I'd done when I was younger. And I don't say the Army kind of beat it out of me, but it compressed my available time and willingness to bleed on the page.
That is an extremely eloquent way to say beat it out of you. You're a true writer.
Yeah. So after I started like writing these stories about my dad down, I started seeing stories all over the place, like driving down the road, dropping my kids off at school, on the job site. I was working on construction sites, and I just started writing those stories down, and started sharing them with my family and some close friends, and a few people suggested I try to get them published. So that's what I did. And after about a year of trying to write while running my business, I decided that I wanted to just write, and had an opportunity to sell the business I started. And so around 2022, I decided to write full time. I guess it's March. It's March 2026. I have been writing full time for about 4 years. Had about 20 short stories published, a few nonfiction things. Like you said earlier, I've been really lucky. Cosmic Horror Monthly, which I think is a really great print and digital magazine, has published 5 of my stories, which is a lot. I feel very fortunate for that. And then a few anthologies, a few other magazines. I've had some things adapted in audio format by CreepyPod and the Cosmic Goblins podcast, which is created by the folks at Cosmic Horror Monthly. And what I write typically are things based on my experiences. I write kind of surreal and supernatural military horror, usually not heroizing the military, and telling it often from a non-military perspective. The story Into the Casbah, which was in the Midnight Labyrinth, is actually told from the perspective of a woman journalist embedded with the U.S. Army in the Iraq War. And so trying to get a different perspective, some distance. All right, so supernatural military horror. I write Appalachian folklore horror. I grew up in West Virginia, and was kind of steeped in those mountains and all of the weird things that happen there. And I guess the third major thing that I often write is kind of near-term dystopian anti-capitalist science fiction horror. After working in tech and being around big tech and tech bros and going to grad school with them. And I still have, several friends that work in that world, but a lot of it disgusts me and horrifies me. And I try to tell about the worst things about that. So those 3 areas are what I most often write. You can find me on my website at jonathangensler.com. It's here on Substack. This is on, you've got Fermented Fiction on Substack. You can find me on Substack. What I'm really excited about right now is this year, I've got 2 really big non-short story things coming out. I've written a musical that's based around an array of classic sea shanties. It's a ghost story set in Nantucket in the 1840s.
That's awesome.
About the people who survived the sinking, the wreck of the Essex. They survived by cannibalism and murder for 90 days at sea in the South Pacific, and only a handful of them survived out of a crew of around 20 some. And so I've just been fascinated by the story of these men and what that must have done to them emotionally. And so I take a look at that. I wrote a short story about it, but then I kind of adapted the short story into a musical with a friend of mine who's a professional singer. So we look at these guys 25 years later dealing with their trauma as they are haunted in a tavern by the ghosts of the people that they have killed, eaten, and or wronged in some other way. And that we are planning on staging it at the Hollywood Fringe Fest in June.
Oh, hell yeah!
In Hollywood, California.
Nice.
Really. Yeah, so I'm writing. I wrote it and I'm producing it, and we're casting it. I'm actually talking to some venues to try to nail down the venue for that. It's coming up. It's in June.
Wow,
it should be great. And then my first novella, I just got accepted by a publisher. It'll be coming out in November. More to come on that later. I don't have the official stuff yet. It's not been officially announced, but I do have a really weird and horrific novella coming out later this year. It's
Ooh.
titled Brick Built Dad. And it is about a father who has lost his son to a school shooting, discovers that his son was in an underground, like off-brand Lego cult. And he finds this store where these Legos were bought, and they start to take over his life. He tries to start rebuilding his son, and it starts eating away at his own body and soul as he builds his son back out of these haunted Legos. It's cool.
Wow.
It's cool. And that's coming out later this year. That's me. That's what I'm doing. A lot going on.
All of it. Are you
That's
going?
awesome.
Big.
Are you going to StokerCon?
I am going to StokerCon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I hope I
Yeah.
remember. I hope I remember to ask you about. We can't talk about it on the show, but Silicon Valley and the transhumanist movement, because I have a lot of things to ask about.
Probably have a few things to say. StokerCon late at night.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Happy to
That-
have that
It's gonna
discussion.
go
Saying
places.
it on the show just so that I have the. It helps me remember.
It's a part of the public record now, so you have to.
There you go. If you're
I've
if
committed.
you happen to
We
be at
will.
StokerCon, you can find Travis and Johnny bent over the bar late Friday or Saturday night talking about the transhuman movement, and you should join that
They
conversation.
will
'cause
be.
it's
They will
sure to
be
a good
sad
one.
and mad. So
Probably.
Probably a little.
Little bit of
probably a
both.
little bit of both.
Johnny, those projects sound amazing, man. I'm stoked about the musical. Jeremy and I specifically really love musicals, so I'm all
Oh, yeah.
about that. And I believe you talked about that on the We Bleed Orange and Black podcast recently as well, right?
I did. Yeah, we talked about that musical pretty extensively. Yeah.
Nice.
Uh,
So yeah, I'll put
you
that
look
link
up
in
that?
the. Sorry, what?
I said, yeah, you're going to put the link in. Yeah.
I'll link it up. Yeah, Jeff is a friend of the show, the We Bob podcast, We Bleed Orange and Black, friends of the show. They're co-sponsoring some panel discussions with us in the coming months, covering the Stoker Awards. So definitely keep an eye on We Bob, and you should check out the episode with Johnny because I know they're going to talk about that musical a lot more, and it's going to be, I'm sure, a great time. I haven't listened to it yet, but I have it queued up, so I'm intending to get to it. But well before that, we're going to get to our debate today because we have a crazy ass movie to talk about, and that is Osgood Perkins, The Monkey. Now, you probably know Osgood Perkins. We've actually covered The Keeper. It's like
Keepers.
The Keeper or
It's
just
The
Keeper?
Keeper. Just keeper.
Just Keeper.
Yeah.
It's confusing because there's a The Keeper, there's a The Keepers, and there's Keeper. And if you go to either of those other ones, it will very much not be Osgood Perkins. You know what is very much Osgood Perkins is the fucking monkey. This is as Perkins as an Osgood can get, and he goes all in on this one. So if you haven't seen The Monkey yet, it's a splatterpunk horror movie that embodies that subgenre to the fullest extent. It is about a cursed monkey that kills people and grants kind of wishes. It's kind of a monkey paw story, but not really. It kind of just kills people. And that's sort of the movie. Like, you get this monkey and bad things are going to start happening. You don't want to have this monkey. And if you happen to have this monkey, unfortunately for you, the clock's a ticking.
And two twin brothers have said monkey.
Two twin brothers got
Yes.
this monkey now, and they acquire it when they are young. And then they kind of have to live with the results of having this monkey for the rest of their lives and kind of try to find a way to get out from under its clutches without dying. All the while, those little symbols be crashing together and people be dying in all kinds of gruesome ways. I don't think there's a whole lot more to it that I need to summarize without, we're going to get into all the nitty gritty of it. But that's basically the premise of the story. Like, monkey bad, don't want monkey, monkey shows up. Too bad for you. We're going to debate this thing. I'm going to take that chuckle as approval, Johnny. Johnny is going to be representing the genre fiction realm, and Travis is going to be representing fermented fiction tonight in our debate. We've got the Dukes up. We're going to have a clean-ish fight, or, maybe not. Hits below the belt are encouraged. And we're going to roll 2 D20s. High roll will defend the monkey, even if they don't like it. Low roll will attack the monkey, even if they loved it. The dice gods hold our fates, and we're going to roll right now.
Ooh, I got good. How good did you do?
17.
I got a 16.
Oh,
1 point. Ah,
beautiful, beautiful. What
Got
a
him.
battle.
thought I had it. Thought I
That
had
was
it.
so close.
It was close.
All right. Well,
I
there
don't
we
know
have
who
it.
has it. Who has it better? 'Cause
Wait, I
there's-
get a
It's-
+3 though, right? Because of
You do
that's
not.
my stat- that's what my stat block says.
Yeah, you do not. No.
Historically, you
no.
have about a -5, so
Yeah,
plus
definitely
3
a
on
-5.
primate related rolls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
+3
on primate related. Okay, I'm gonna kick it to Jeremy, our distinguished referee. I'm gonna hop off the screen, and then we're gonna start this debate.
all right. We're gonna get into it. You heard the rules. There, frankly, are not any. So let's get in there. Let's have some fun, and maybe some random folks will die. Who knows? So we're gonna get going in a 3, in a 2, 1, go.
I love the monkey. I mean, I'll start off. I loved it when I first read the short story back in the late 80s when I was well too young to be reading Skeleton Crew. But last year, when Osgood Perkins announced that he was adapting and Stephen King was co-writing the script, I became very, very excited. And when I saw it, it absolutely delivered, really kind of beyond what I had hoped for. I love how inexplicable the monkey is as a killer. We get no origin, we get no explanation. This thing gets flamethrowered, it gets chopped into pieces, it gets dropped into a well, it gets thrown out in the trash, and yet it keeps reappearing with its little, he's got a drum in the movie and his little spinning drumstick. He's up there, he's ready to go. And if you wind the thing up, someone's going to die. And the way that the people die in this movie, I think, might be its strongest, bro. There are some wild kills from the opening scene when Adam Scott comes in dressed like a boat captain or something. And he's trying to get rid of the monkey. He's covered in blood. No idea, no explanation. He's in a pawn shop. Tells the guy, "You need to take this off my hands." The guy winds it up anyway. And he gets speared by like a spearfisher thing. And then it retracts and rips his guts out. And he just falls over. Adam Scott's character, I think he's the son at the end. He's listed as Captain PD. So I think he's PD the kid at the end as an adult who's still being cursed by this monkey. I'm assuming later in life. And he doesn't care. He knows people. He's already covered in blood. This death doesn't faze him. He looks over, sees a flamethrower, and he goes out and he flamethrowers this thing. That's the start of the movie. It's fantastic. And we get this Rube. It ends with this Rube Goldberg machine and a house that ends with a cannon shooting one of the twins' heads off with a golf ball with their mom's name on it. And it's not exactly the last scene. The last scene's kind of. But these are the kind. We get an exploding lady above a pool who dies, and the electric shock in the pool causes her to completely explode, launches the leg right at our main character, Hal, and he like kind of ducks it, and the lady gets shotgunned out of a closet. Her finger ends up in his mouth. He like spits her finger out. He's like, ah. Anyway, the kills, the cast. We've got Adam Scott. We've got Tatiana Maslany, who's the twins' mom. We got Elijah Wood as a cameo, who's just kind of hilarious. Like the cast bringing their snarkiest, most kind of. They're bringing this full wild. Yeah, it's a hilarious splatterpunk movie that I think delivers on the promise. Every promise that it made, it just hammered them home for me.
This movie is essentially so they went to a boardroom, I think, and they were like, we need something new in horror. And they had a dartboard of all the like weirdest horror directors that were up and coming. They threw the dart and they hit Osgood Perkins. And they're like, okay, get that guy. And then they were like, okay, now let's like find a franchise that everyone loves. And they threw a dart and they landed on Final Destination. And then they were like, okay, and let's like think of a random adjective. And they threw a dart and they just saw weirder. And that's the movie. They just were like, get the weird guy to make Final Destination weirder. Oh no, weirder. No, weirder. And they just kept going down that rabbit hole. And that might sound appealing to a lot of people. And maybe I'm selling the movie when I'm supposed to trash it, but it's not. It's not appealing. It's just strange. And frankly, uncomfortable, and you laugh when you shouldn't, and then you're like, why am I laughing? That was grisly and disgusting, and I feel bad about myself now. Like you say, they're grisly, gruesome deaths that just happen. There's like no point to the movie. It doesn't have much of a narrative arc. It's just these two twin brothers being tortured by this fake monkey, and then also kind of just being pieces of crap for the whole film. Theo James plays both of them, and I will admit, plays them both very well. Distinctive personalities of both brothers, but they're not good people. They're, Theo, what's the one though? I gotta find the names of the brothers here.
Hal and Bill.
Yeah, Hal tries to kind of seem like he's a good person because he's like, oh, I don't see my son because I'm scared because everyone around me dies. But really, he's not. He's just kind of a deadbeat that works at a grocery store and doesn't care about his son. And we don't see a resolution to that plot, really. And then Bill, from the get-go, we're told that Bill is a piece of shit. And like, he never changes other than for a few brief seconds at the very end of the film when he finally starts to be like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't want to kill my brother, and it's not his fault that our mom died. And then, as John pointed out already, his head gets blown off by a bowling ball. So any satisfactory ending to any character arc, any like bow on a nice narrative, which, yeah, people might say like, oh, it's horror, it's chaos. No, usually these things happen in horror. Bring Her Back was one of my favorite movies of last year, because it like really wrapped things up well. I thought, even though it changed the ending, it still worked. This was just a mess of blood, guts, unsatisfactory character work, and no resolutions that make you feel good about yourself in any way whatsoever.
I mean, I agree with you on a lot of those points. And I think that's what people come to an Osgood Perkins movie for, and I think that's what they want out of The Monkey. This is a movie about chaos. It's in like some of, not that there's a ton of this isn't a dialogue driven movie. There's some hilarious dialogue, but there is some poignant dialogue that speaks to these. Like, I think Hal at the end tells Petey, he's like, none of us deserves what happens to us. We were just there when it happened. This is about chaos, and I think like, have you ever heard the phrase a chaos monkey? Like someone who just hops around causing this is the chaos monkey. You can't plan for it. You might enact it, but like in the movie, it seems like the monkey kind of waits. It gets turned on, but it seems like it can wait a while until it wants to kill. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it. It's like that's how like we could get struck by anything at any time. I'm a big subscriber to the idea that almost everything that happens to us is driven by chaos and is out of our hands. We can be prepared to deal with chaos. You can be prepared to deal with a punch to the face, but you're not the one choosing to punch yourself. But life's going to punch you a lot, or shoot you in the face with a bowling ball, or fill your head with wasps.
Directly,
and I think that's the beauty of this
into
movie.
your mouth. Directly streamlined.
It's
into
not, but it's not a feel-good movie. This movie made me laugh out loud a lot, which does make me feel good. You don't have to like the people in a movie to like the movie. I don't think at all. Often in horror movies, I don't really like very many characters. Maybe there's one person who is redeeming. I don't think there's very many redeeming characters in this movie at all. Everyone's pretty cynical and nihilistic, and I think that's okay. Almost all of them die.
I mean, I would believe you that it was intentionally just kind of chaos, and yeah, they have a lot of lines shoehorned in there where it like tells you that that's part of the mom has a few, the brother has the one, but I feel like the ending really upsets a lot of that when it gets kind of up its own ass with the whole pale horse imagery and has this like last little artistic flair of the horse trotting by and then being like, oh, we're gonna keep the monkey and see what happens. And then that's like Osgood does this weird thing where like you just had that and you're like, okay, you're in this contemplative mood now. And then the last frame of the film is just the kids getting their heads cut off outside of the bus windows. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Death cult. I call them the Casco death cult. They're out there cheering outside the house after the lady gets shotgunned. Yeah, and then that last frame, you're right. They're out the window of their school bus. It's driving by, and then the semi comes by, and Hereditary's them all.
Yeah, I guess to me, I'm like, pick a lane. Like it seemed like he was trying to make two movies. One was the chaos, kind of goofy, crazy monkey movie that maybe I would have enjoyed more if it wasn't also trying to like fit in this weird, pretentious, like, oh, I know what death really is, and I can, you know.
I think he did both of those things very successfully.
Shut up, everybody. We are done.
We had already shut up, Jeremy.
Hey. How was I supposed to know that you weren't about to just open it right back up?
We timed it.
True.
We timed it perfect.
Well, shut up again, because it's drink of the week.
Shut up again.
Shut up again. It's drink of the week, everybody. Did we all bring something to drink? 2 of us are on Lent. But I don't know if that affects Jeremy in the same way as Travis. I don't believe it has thus far.
No.
So, Jeremy, what are you drinking?
Well, I thought it was fitting. This week I am drinking a Suffering Bastard.
Nice.
Perfect.
So
perfect. I love that.
Hey, cheers, everybody.
What is a Suffering Bastard?
So it's kind of like a Moscow Mule, but with whiskey and gin.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, oh yeah.
I like it.
I'm not the bastard that's suffering. So.
No. That is the twins in the monkey. Travis?
I just finished
fucking rain?
I just both finished a wrestling workout, and I brought a theme one that's not alcohol because I do give it up for Lent. But everyone should have been wearing body armor in this movie. And
you really want that. Yeah.
I'm having a body armor for electrolytes and the pun.
Nice. I don't think it would have been enough, but it wouldn't have hurt. It wouldn't have hurt.
The monkey would have found a way. The body armor
really
probably
wouldn't have helped the swimming lady.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't have helped the swimming lady. No.
Who could have been saved by body armor? Like, honestly.
The first guy.
Like the spear
gun to the stomach.
Yeah, he could.
The spear guy, maybe.
Spear guy, maybe.
Sometimes body armor is not great against slower, sharp, like knife. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows?
The
He'd
mom?
be the only one because nope, the mom's brain explodes.
Her brain just explodes. We've got the bees, the cannonball.
So many of those deaths go straight for the head or an explosion that one time. So I don't know if body armor is helping very many.
Nope, the horse, the uncle, he got trampled.
The grocery store boss, whose only lines over and over again are, "Shit, that sucks." Says it
Maybe
5
the
times,
realtor?
I think.
He swallows the
he swallows his
like
his
vape pen or something.
Just,
Jokes him.
But body armor would make you feel better, Like when you're walking in the woods and you think you hear something, you're like, maybe that's a bear, and so you grab like your pocket knife. It's like, cool, good luck, buddy.
good luck.
But I know that there's a psychological comfort there that in reality is not gonna come to too much fruition, most likely for you. Johnny, what are you drinking?
I'm going themed. I'm pretty happy. I got 2 drinks tonight.
All right.
Oh.
I got
Monkey shoulder.
Monkey shoulder.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like monkey shoulder.
It's a good scotch. And I've got Golden Monkey Belgian triple.
Love that.
Hell yeah.
So,
You're ready.
I am ready for some monkey business.
I'm jealous.
Monkey shoulders. And I'm drinking the monkey shoulder in
every
an
bit of your
awesome whiskey
homework.
glass my mom got me for Christmas.
Oh,
which
that's cool.
It is like a bourbon barrel. It's charred oak on the. It's like
Hell yeah.
It's called the Oak Sip. It's a whiskey glass. and it's all black and charred oak on the inside, and it works
What?
fine with the Scotch. Good.
It also looks so like, I don't know. I love the look of it. It looks like you're
almost drinking
like
out of a coconut.
meditating, like you're drinking some like healing thing.
I
Yeah.
hate whiskey. Whiskey is healing. It's the water of life.
And it's just like pitch black in there. It's like you're drinking the entire universe.
I'm drinking the cosmic. I'm drinking the void.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes.
That's
I
lovely.
want to drink that in.
Couple of monkey drinks.
Clay,
Good
what do you
choices.
think?
Good choices. I'm just drinking black tea, which is fermented, but I'm pretty sick, so if I had whiskey, I would drink that, but I don't, so I'm staying away from beer for today.
Yeah.
But I'm bringing
Cheers.
a vanilla chai from Twinnings. So some pretty basic off-the-shelf shit, but it's my favorite, like, basic buy-it-from-the-store tea, one of my go-tos.
Man, Twinnings is good. Twinnings is solid.
Yeah. There's a reason things are basic, and that's because, hey, just a lot of people like them.
That's true.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
true, Jeremy. Well said. Well said.
Twinnings has been around for a long time.
They have. They're doing
Doing
something
tea.
right, for sure.
Doing tea for a long time.
Good job, Twinnings. Thanks for keeping it steady. Speaking of keeping it steady, we try to do that on this show, doing the same segments every week. And that segment we're going to do next is our fermented facts. Travis, do you have some fun facts about the monkey for us?
Oh yeah, there are some really fun facts about the monkey.
Absolutely.
The first one up, when you look at the trivia page on IMDb, is that the monkey changed from crashing cymbals to banging on a drum because apparently the cymbal monkey is owned by the Walt Disney Company because it appeared once in Toy Story 3 and they just bought the rights to it. So
Those
It
bastards.
was a nightmare there, too. So
yeah. On that same vein, Osgood Perkins has now made 2 letterboxed page like profiles accounts for 2 of his movies. He made one for Long Legs, I think, as Nicolas Cage's character, and then he made one for the monkey as like the monkey has its own letterbox account. And its 4 favorite films on Letterboxd are Toy Story 3, reference to the legal issue, Gremlins, Legally
Sure.
Blonde, because Osgood Perkins was in Legally Blonde as
yes, he was.
as David Kidney, and Final Destination because of the similar plotline. So the monkey loves those 4 movies.
Tracks.
There's a lot of references to King stuff in this. One of them was a teacher is referred to in the movie as Torrance, which refers to obviously Jack Torrance, who was also a teacher. Also, Annie Wilkes, the babysitter, shares the name with the evil character from Misery, another Stephen King story. So lots of little nods there. In fact, there's another nod to Gremlins, which we've mentioned already, but the hotel sign that says no food after midnight is a direct reference to 1984's Gremlins, because you're not supposed to feed the mogwai.
Yes.
Mogwai after midnight, or else they become the Gremlins.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Lots of stuff of like Stephen King loved it. He praised the film, calling it batshit insane, which I would agree with him.
He's absolutely right.
I love this one because it's not so much of a fact as just a quote from Osgood Perkins. When asked about his like method for creating the kills, he said he didn't want them to be scary, and he didn't want them to be like torture porn like Saw. He wanted to balance that, and he wanted them to come as like the punchline of a joke. And I think he nailed it, which is giving you a little preview to the fact that I'm a big fat lying liar. Right. I love this movie.
You lying son of a bitch.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, Osgood made this after Keeper, but Keeper, it was released before Keeper because of Hollywood sort of disputes and labor disputes. So Keeper came out second, whereas The Monkey was actually made first. And Tatiana Maslany is in both. We've talked about Keeper on the show before. She's excellent in both movies, even though her part is a lot smaller in this one. The song that the monkey plays on the drums is "I Do Like to Be Beside the Seaside." So if you want to look that up and get that do 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 in your head, that's the song. It's based on Stephen King's short story from his collection Skeleton Crew, which, little plug here, I'm sure everyone knows this, but I do know a lot of like lay Stephen King readers who aren't like big into him don't realize a lot of his best stuff is in his short story collections. And I would highly advise any listener who's not like a big Stephen King person, if you like his longer novels, go buy his short story collections. You'll find some really, really good nuggets in there. And a lot of them are being adapted now very excellently.
Very true.
Netflix has 2 that I thought were really well done. 1920, I forget the year, 1922, which was a very good short story about a father and son, and like the father sort of murders the mother, and it's weird, and lots of stuff in the South. And then Gerald's Game is a really good movie as well, really well adapted short story by King about a woman whose husband chains her to a bed to kind of like, kink things up, and then dies on top of her. And she's trapped under her husband's body, chained to a bed with no way to call for help. Very freaky movie. And yeah, go check out his short stories. I think I'm at 9. So the last one I will say is Osgood Perkins revealed his approach to the material. I took liberties like a mother effer. The Atomic Monster had a very serious script, very serious. I felt it was too serious, and I told them, this doesn't work for me. The thing with the toy monkey is that the people around it all die in insane ways. So I thought, I'm an expert on that. Both my parents died in insane headline-making ways. I spent a lot of my life recovering from tragedy. It seemed inherently unfair. You personalize the grief. Why is this happening to me? But I'm older now and realize this shit happens to everyone. Everyone dies. So that quote being like, I think a lot of what Johnny says is directly kind of the inspiration of that the Osgood is messing with this idea of like chaos and chance and fate just sort of taking lives willy-nilly. And I think he really gets that through in the movie. But that's, direct quote that I thought was a fun fact. That's what I got. Anyone have any extras? Oh, success-wise. I will look that up. Does anyone have any extras?
Nah.
Oh, no.
Go on. Look it up. Look it up. Real interesting.
Look it up.
I do really love Skeleton Crew. I think it's his best collection.
Yeah.
It's got, the Mist is in it. The Jaunt, which I think is one of the scariest short stories she's ever written, is in it. Yeah, it's got some real killer work in Skeleton Crew.
His short story collections, like you said, Travis, that's a really good point. And there's so many out there that you may not even know if you're not a big Stephen King reader. Even non-horror, like this is common knowledge to a lot of people, but some people probably don't know that like Shawshank and Green Mile are both Stephen King short stories. The Secret Window is a Stephen King short story. And there's a ton of them out there.
The Body, Stand By
River
Me.
Phoenix. Yeah.
Yep, Stand By Me. Yeah.
In the same book as Shawshank. 4 different seasons. Yeah.
Yeah,
amazing.
there's so many great Stephen King. He's got literally hundreds and hundreds of them published out there. So when he was in his heyday there, he was publishing like a short story a week. So definitely worth looking into. You could probably just Google top 100 best Stephen King short stories, and you'd probably be shocked how many of them are movies, how many of them have been failed at an adaptation at something or another, and then read them and see how good they actually freaking are, because Stephen King kicks ass in that regard.
The Monkey was not a success technically. It broke even. It was worldwide 68 million. It cost estimated around 50 million to make. You have to double usually to be considered kind of a box office success. It did break even, which is hopefully good for Osgood. I have a feeling, maybe I'm wrong, it's going to make up some ground on the back end with streaming, because I know quite a few people that have bought it, rented it, and been like, holy shit, how did I never hear about this movie? and like shared it with others. So
Sure.
I think it might get a little bit of its capital back on that, the streaming side of things.
I think so.
Wouldn't be
I
the
think
first.
it's.
No.
Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
Two of the movies we just named did the same.
Yeah.
Stand By Me wasn't a box office success.
Right.
Shawshank flopped at the box office. It was the highest rated movie on IMDb of all time.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
It gets in that constant boxing match between The Godfather and it, or like, bah, bah.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Yeah, and I think this movie, I think it appeals to a lot of horror fans who haven't had a movie like this for a while, on the big screen. Like, I mean, there's gory horror movies still and everything, but I mean, to be completely honest, a lot of horror was built on like that gory stuff, on the slasher era, and like the popularization of horror, I should say. And I think this is sort of this is an homage. It's a bit of a return to form, to like leaning into that grotesque type of horror, that splatter type of horror that has fallen a little bit out of fashion in our more, I think we're kind of in an intellectualized age of horror right now, where people are leaning way more into psychological horror, leaning way more into sociological horror. And I love all that, obviously. That's my kind of horror for sure. And this is very much not. But I think that Osgood Perkins is good at taking the elements that work of psychological horror and still like kind of slotting them in to these super gruesome movies that he makes. And this is a good example of it can be psychological still and have those elements that horror fans miss, of like almost comical violence, that made a lot of early horror popular and successful.
Yeah, and I really do think like if he had kept with apparently the original script of like making it a serious film, it really would have just been a better looking Final Destination.
Yeah,
and that's not what we got.
Yeah.
And I
No.
love what we got.
Talk
We
about
got-
it. Talk about it while you're
Yeah,
on
I
the
guess
mic. What did you actually think?
I lied. I mean, I didn't fully lie. Like to Johnny's point in his rebuttal, like some of the points are true. Like it is kind of a hopeless film. It is about chaos. I don't think I wasn't completely honest about my estimation of Hal. I do think Hal does have a little bit more of a like empathetic arc like than Bill. Bill is clearly just not good. Like, yes, it's bad that his mom died, but like he turns that into, I'm going to try and use this devil machine to like kill my brother over and over again and cause the entire town to fall into like murderous hell chaos. So Bill is not a redeemable person, but Hal, I think, does have a deeper story than I gave it credit for in the argument, especially with his son. But then, like Johnny talked about the best points of this film, it is just bonkers and it's darkly hilarious. Like I was laughing my ass off and I felt weird about it because the deaths are like gruesome as hell, but they are the punchline of jokes and they hit so suddenly that you can't help but just be like, oh my word, and like laugh. Like the trampling horses when the uncle dies, I was like on the floor, like tearing up laughing with the like they're peeling the cherry pie, like filling away. I was like,
like cherry pie filling.
Oh, it was so gnarly and so out of nowhere. And the way they play it is like the best comedies. Like it has these moments, like that scene specifically. They turn the monkey, the drum beat comes down, and they don't go to the death immediately. It just goes to like a picture of the uncle at a funeral. And it's like, Uncle Bill died on a camping incident. But that's kind of a misrepresentation. Uncle Bill died by getting trampled by 63 horses in a sleeping bag on a camping trip. And so like there's this like hilarious way the script is designed. And I thought even the way the people are characterized leaned into that like absurdity. The realtor was absurd. There's hilarious moments where she's like leaning into the car. and tries to give the son the card, and he's just like
This is
goes
hard.
off, and it's like, oh,
I'm
my
one of those
dad
kids
hates.
who doesn't buy that many houses.
Yeah. And
Oh,
like then just
so-
rants
so
about,
no
oh,
car.
I didn't think I had a brother, and then my dad lied to me, and blah blah blah. And she's just like, all right then, like come into the script is funny the whole way through. And I think big shout out to Theo James. He knocked it out of the park playing like two pretty different brothers excellently, and it's just a weird role that he had to do, and I think he pulled it off well. Yeah, I'm going to talk more about him in the questionnaire thing because I want to talk about voice acting, which he does not get enough credit for. He was Hector in Castlevania and knocked it out of the park with that too. So yeah, that's kind of my praises of this movie. I love it. I've watched it twice now. And it is, if you just want the most, like the way I described with Keeper, Osgood Perkins has yet to pull a punch, and like I love him for it. And a couple of his swings in Keeper didn't hit, but at least he tried. Like he tries with his whole ass chest, and I'm thankful that we have him making horror films because I love to see that just wild attempts at new stuff.
Bro, you straight up muted.
What?
Shout out Osgood. You're doing a great job out there. That's all I said. Johnny, what did you think? Were you lying? Do you actually like this movie? And where you at with that?
Oh, is he
Can you?
muted? Nope.
No,
We
there
got
go.
you.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're good.
The first time I watched this movie, I hated it. Until the very end, but like going through it, I thought it was disjointed and tonally all over the place. But the second time I went back and watched it, and I'll premise the first time I watched it, I'm very familiar with the short story. This is not the short story. This is not Stephen King's short story. This is Stephen King and Osgood Perkins adapting that short story into something much more weird and bizarre and hopeless. The short story is weird and inexplicable, but I prefer to think of this movie being the story that King probably wishes he had told when he was younger, because it leans into the themes, which I didn't really pick up on the first time. And coming into it for a second watch again, I've watched it 3 times in the last, maybe twice. I watched it last year, and it was, again, I thought it was kind of forgettable. Didn't really like it. Came back to watch it for this. And when I watched it again, the second time, I loved it. And then I watched it again today, and I loved it even more. Like, I think every time I watch it, I'm going to like it. There's little things that he does that's just, it's so crammed full of detail and set design and little quippy, snarky dialogue between the characters that I just love. And I really loved it. The only thing that I will quibble with about this movie is how the babysitter Annie Wilkes dies. I'm like, the chef's not close enough to cut her head off with a knife. I don't care how sharp the
Absolutely
knife is.
bananas.
He's like, he just swings his knife out. He's still holding it. I'm like, she's still like 3 more feet away. How'd you cut her head
There's
off?
not even blood on the knife.
There's not even blood on the knife. And then
How'd
It
you
was
get this
that
anime
close.
ass
and
death?
lands on the hibachi and fries, and like you crack up. But that's like, I think that's the only quibble I would have with the movie. Everything else in it lives by the rules that are established.
Right.
Except for Annie Wilkes' beheading, and yeah, and even the more I'm convincing myself that I loved it even more. This is hands. I reread the short story again today before I watched it just to be refreshed, and I'm like, the short story's fine. It's a good short story. I see why I like the short story.
Mhm.
But it's different than this. This is a darker, deeper, much more bizarre.
Yes.
Just leans into chaos and weirdness. I think I've convinced myself that I love this movie.
The
Yeah,
last,
after hate,
yeah.
I really didn't like it the first time I saw it. I really didn't.
I forgot to praise one other line, and it's when Uncle Bill like sits with the boys. And like, he's like describing how they're twinners and bad, and he's like, "We're gonna try our best." And there's a beat, like you think, "Oh, that's it," and then he's like, "But that's probably gonna be pretty bad."
Probably gonna be pretty bad. Also, we're swingers. So.
So,
Yep.
Makes a sip
Yeah.
of beer.
just be ready.
So funny. I'm
Yeah,
gonna piggyback
I'll-
off. I'm gonna piggyback for my opinion off what Johnny said, because it may surprise viewers of the show to learn that I actually enjoyed this movie. It's very much the type of movie I typically do not enjoy. I'm not a fan of gore type stuff. I'm not a fan of this over the top absurdity a lot of the time. I am way more a fan of the slow burn. I'm way more a fan of the psychological horror that like takes its time and analyzes something. But the thing I am also a big fan of is knowing exactly what the fuck you are if you're going to make a movie. My main mantra for art, what separates good art and great art from bad art is taking the craft seriously, but not yourself as the artist. Like, don't be a pretentious douche. There's a lot of artists out there doing great stuff. You're not that special. But what you bring to the table, what you bring as a storyteller, your story, that is special, and you should take that very seriously. So that's a big, really solid mantra of mine, a foundational principle, I would say. So I think this is a perfect example of how you can make a movie according to that mantra, you know? Like, Osgood Perkins is not taking himself seriously at all. In this movie, he's not like, I'm going to get an Academy Award for this motherfucker. He's like, I don't give a shit. If we had an Academy Award scene in this, it would be an absolute bloodbath. Everybody would be dying in horrific ways. It'd be like the tap dancing scene in South Park where Butters drops a whole bunch of like sound equipment and beams and shit on top of the crowd and kills like 25 people. So for that reason, I really, really respected this movie. It's still not really my kind of movie. I didn't watch it a second time. Once was enough. But I watched it and I was like, yeah, all right. Good for you, Osgood. Like Travis said, he has yet to pull a punch. And I respect the hell out of this movie for knowing exactly what it was and telling us that immediately. Like the very first scene.
Yeah.
He walks in, he's trying to get rid of the monkey, and you're like, okay, we've seen this kind of story before. It's a classic cursed artifact story, right? Usually, they take a little while to build that up. It's like in so many movies, what would happen there? Like the pawn shop owner would buy the monkey, and then he would have the monkey in his store, and there'd be a scene late at night or something where the monkey creeps him out and he like puts it in a different place or he throws it away and the monkey's back the next day and then the monkey starts beating the drum and they spend like 15 minutes of the movie establishing how scary this monkey's supposed to be. Osgood's like, no, here's what the monkey does. You tell me if that's fucking scary.
Yeah. He says, look at this monkey. Are you scared yet? Well,
Yeah.
the guy just died, so you probably better be.
Oh, and by the way, we got Adam Scott for 5 minutes of this film.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So good.
I also have so much respect for that when they have like a big cameo actor and they kill them immediately. It's awesome. So yeah, I respect the hell out of the monkey. It's not really my kind of movie, so to speak. But whatever. I had a great time watching it. I thought it was hilarious. And I meant what I said earlier, like, I feel like this movie, it takes everything that people criticize about horror or like misunderstand about horror, like that's all horror is, like blood and gore and jump scares and shock value and blah, 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 and like dumb characters doing things they shouldn't do, like acting like the realtor, right? Like just like, how can you look past this? How can you be so happy? Why are you going in the basement? Osgood takes all that stuff in this movie and just says like, don't fucking worry about it. Like, the monkey's here. It's going to take care of everything. Like, the monkey is the great leveler, and it's going to sort this all out. And I think a lot of, like, horror stories get a little bit up their own ass about, like, trying to make you scared of something. Osgood Perkins just, like, immediately puts this monkey on the table, and it starts killing people, and it's like, you decide if you're scared of that or not. You know? I thought it was great.
There
So-
are some like genuinely spine-chilling moments too. Like the
yeah,
scene
that's
where-
not to say that there's no
Yeah.
effective horror in it by any means. I think this is a harken back and homage to classic horror in so many ways. There are all the like direct references to things, so you know that Osgood Perkins is a student of the genre. He has been his entire life, and it's very much on display in The Monkey.
like when
Sorry to
Bill
interrupt.
looks,
Did a weird dream sequence.
yeah,
Mhm,
or
mhm.
when Bill looks out the window and sees the eyes in the dark. That one I was like,
Mhm.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, what is this monkey
Oh,
gonna do?
shit.
Yeah,
Well, and
Right.
like there's different ways to establish those the horror elements requisite to actually scaring your audience. Like the primary one I think is character empathy. Like if we don't want characters to die, Osgood doesn't care about that. What he establishes it in this movie by channeling that chaotic element of just like there really is no telling when it's going to happen and nobody is safe. So it's not really based on character empathy, but it is based on that like paranoia of like, yeah, every single day all of us essentially have the monkey around, right? Like we could all die at any time from anything. We don't know what it's going to be. Like I have big trees outside my house. One night a tree could just fall on my house and I'd be dead. Who knows, in a windstorm, right? And like that's what the monkey represents, is just chaos theory, and he uses that expertly in this movie to like create a tension and a fear that's very different, but still psychological in nature. So it's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy, go ahead.
Well, hey, I came pretty hard at Keeper when we covered it for the show.
You did,
And yeah,
which was
that's
fair.
only because that movie is terrible. But this movie, Osgood, hey, you're 1 for 1 here. I love that. This
Long
movie
Legs is a great movie too.
just-
Let's take
Sure,
it
why
easy
not?
on Osgood here.
I believe you. Hey, look, I'm not keeping score for you. I'm keeping score for me.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
One and one, And hey, I like that this movie is basically like if Final Destination and Death Note did PCP and said, "Hey, let's get naked and just see what happens." Incredible. Movie's a goddamn
Oh, that's
cartoon,
funny.
and like
it is a
it's all the better for it, And I am going to push back on something that you guys have been getting at. I don't think the movie is like a hopeless film overall. Because,
Okay.
sure, things are pretty hopeless when Bill has the monk and he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to crank this 4 or 5 times a day. See, one of them's got to get him, right?
See what the hell happens.
That's not great.
Bill's such a dick.
Yeah, Bill, and I'm not in love with his characterizations of just like he was born a bastard and then decided to just keep doing that. Great, cool, whatever. But no, I don't think it's hopeless because like at the end they have the monkey and like sure there's chaos all around as they're driving out of town and they're like, I mean, shit happens. But we can choose to do the right thing between the two of us and not use this monkey. But we really should keep an eye on this monkey. And if that's not hopeful, I don't know what is, man.
I do get the sense that the monkey is going to be used regardless. It's going to find a way to be used. But I see your point, Jeremy. I think that's a good point.
Man.
That is a good point, because there will always be a person who has to twist that thing. It doesn't matter what the consequences are. I mean, that's how we've got AI right now, right? Like,
They're twisting that thing.
we know what's in there. We know what's in the box. Everyone has told us don't open the fucking box. And there's always going to be one human that comes along and goes, I mean,
Peek in.
if
But
I
what if
open the
I
box,
did it.
Yeah, it
Is
reminds me of the.
is it gonna hurt me?
I can handle the power of the box.
It won't. It won't happen to
I
me.
can handle it.
Yeah.
One of the oldest stories in the history of man in several different cultures.
Yes,
I can
exactly.
handle the power that I'm not supposed to.
I can open the box. It won't
yeah.
happen to me.
I
It
think
will.
there's a depth to Bill too that maybe I don't think I'm reading into it. I think I think, yes, to your point, Jeremy, he's like born a bastard and continues to be a bastard. But I think the point of his like revenge story was that the only thing that could have possibly changed that trajectory and the only thing he genuinely loved was his mother. And like, you see that in the funeral scene. That was like a moment of like really good writing that pulled me out of this like jokey moment to be like, oh shit. Because like Bill's reaction of like, oh, just wake up. Good joke, Mom. Like genuinely sad.
Yeah.
And I think it showed that Bill had a heart, but like it kind of died with his mom.
Yeah. Completely broke his heart. The ruined cancerous thing that it was.
Yep. And then he spent the rest of his life blaming Hal for it and trying to kill him with the monkey. Which again, very
Not
inefficient.
wrong. Hal definitely turned the key and killed his mom.
Sure, yeah.
Technically true.
But honestly, yeah, most roundabout way to try to do a murder.
Just do it yourself, you know? Like, don't turn the
yourself.
chaos monkey wheel. Like, just do it yourself if you're that downright determined to do it. And a Rube Goldberg machine is never the answer, okay? There's literally never a scenario where a Rube Goldberg machine is the best way to do something.
Yeah, just
Never.
you paid that dirtbag guy $15 to find the monkey. He probably would have killed your brother for $15.
He probably or 20, you know, like he may have upcharged you a little bit to do it himself, but like it wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It would have been affordable, I think. That guy was killing on a budget for sure.
Definitely.
And you know what? We're on a bit of a time budget here because we got a 2-hour show and we like to take a little break in between because we used to not. And a lot of bladders suffered for that. We're not going to do that to our guests in season 4. Johnny, we're not going to do that to you, my friend. So go ahead and everybody turn off your cameras and mics. I'm going to kick on this 5-minute video and we'll be back after that. See you in 5. Goodbye. Hello, Fermented folks. Welcome to another episode of Fermented Fiction, the first of our new season, and I believe it's season 4, the show where we drink beer and argue with each other and bring on really awesome creative guests.
If you'll permit me to go a little bit outside the box, once upon a time, apparently people used to sniff mummy remains, powdered mummy remains like cocaine. So I think 3 lines of powdered mummy remains, if you can get to that as well. Yeah, that'll get you right to really enjoy the movie, you know?
Dave told us all about making a mead, and I talk shit about Tom Bombadil, as I am wont to do whenever people bring up Lord of the Rings.
You would. You should.
And then that's
everybody
exactly what he
freaking
made.
chill about Tom Bombadil, or I'll get unreasonably upset.
So, in your assessment, what did you think of the everyone kind of paired off, or at least a number of people did, like romantically? How'd you feel about that? Did that seem really forced and dumb to you, or?
Tom Bombadil is a merry old fellow with his bright blue jacket and his boots are yellow. Right?
It's our yellow.
Right.
Imagine discovering mummy remains and oh my God, these ancient figures. Dude, what if we crushed this and snorted it, yo? I bet we'd get fucked up.
Let's talk for a moment about the fucking all-star cast in this movie. We have Ewan McGregor slaughtering it the entire time, main character energy, top to bottom. You can't argue with it. Women want him, men want him, everybody wants Ewan McGregor. Okay? If you don't agree with that, you're lying to yourself.
Apparently she had a backstory, but they cut it because she's very hard-nosed at the beginning. And then I will say another pro of this movie is their chemistry is hot. And I feel like if they didn't have that chemistry, I would have been ugh. Because she says at one point, she's like, oh, it's the apocalypse. What are we going to do? Fuck. And he's like, and then later when they are kissing, if they didn't have chemistry and if it was 2 lesser actors, I think it would have been an eye roll, felt cheesy, but you feel their Bond.
The Langoliers themselves were originally going to be portrayed by puppets. And I think maybe they should have. Maybe they should have.
Dude, that's amazing.
There's no maybe about that.
And I wish that I could say that there was something greater happening here than the war diary of a broken man living as sort of this White Tower academic with all of his friends sitting inside the Eagle and Child drinking beer and pretending like, Magic Lion Jesus isn't really silly. Because, I mean, it is. If we can just all be very honest with each other.
The Lord's work out there. Good job.
I like to think that I am. Most people aren't big enough, but I am. I'm willing to step up.
Yeah. Dedicate that time. You're willing to dedicate that time.
The time, the money, all of it.
That was so painful. It's one of those painful things
that
I've
was
done in my
so
life.
good. That was so good. We've never been so savagely attacked by any author on their show. It's incredible. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Follow the instructions, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Because
all those buttons do that.
Every button you can see. I don't care which one.
We're keeping those buttons up. Oh, they're gone now.
They're gone. Figure it out. Every YouTube ever says those things. Do the things, because we are another one of every YouTube ever.
True.
Oh, yes.
All right. Welcome back. We have many directions we could go with these questions. But I'm going to start out with, let's talk about a very famous plot device. No, I don't know. Element to story writing that's been referenced a lot. And probably people forget that it's important because it's talked about so much. Chekhov's gun. Let's talk about Chekhov's gun, because this has one of my favorite Chekhov's gun movements.
Chekhov's bowling ball.
I've seen in a long time. The bowling ball is definitely part of it, but the wedding before that, early in the movie, his son gets a flyer out for skydiving lessons.
It's like, oh, they do weddings.
Oh yeah, Dad, maybe we could do this. Like, you jump out of the sky, and it seems like it's pretty fun and free. Like, there's a free part to it. Oh, and they do weddings. And then, like, that pays off in droves when the monkey starts killing the whole town. The death that we actually see happen in the building is the skydiver instructor crashes through, and then immediately a bride in like a dress is like hung by her parachute, and you're like, oh, they do weddings. So yeah, I would just like to talk about the importance of that concept of Chekhov's gun. If someone could maybe explain it better than I could in storytelling, because I do think it is important. And then maybe what some of your favorite moments of a like payoff are in film or literature. Johnny, you're first.
Oh, I'm happy to talk about Chekhov's gun. I was a Russian lit major in undergrad and read quite a lot of Anton Chekhov. I've seen quite a few of his plays staged. Chekhov's gun essentially says that if a gun is introduced in Act 1, it needs to be fired by Act 3 or Act 4, not the end. Essentially saying if you introduce a plot element, and make sure it needs to be there for good storytelling, and it needs to be used later. From Anton Chekhov, the famed Russian playwright. We have a lot of them in this movie. And I think I absolutely believe this is a true thing, because you can't, whenever you're writing, you can't tell everything that's there. I can't describe to you, if I'm setting a scene in my office here, I'm not going to tell you all of the books that I have. Mm-hmm. And, like, I can't give you every detail. I'm going to pick the details that are important to the story to share with you. Mm-hmm. And hopefully those details are going to have some impact on the story later. Otherwise, maybe it's just some character detail. But if it's like something, if it's like a gun, like that has a purpose, so don't tell me that there's a gun there and that the gun never shows up. That should be scrubbed out in editing, because it doesn't serve a purpose to the story. Tell me another detail that maybe is a throwaway detail that's about his character. But, it's about tight effective storytelling, things that get put on the page and get put in the reader's or the viewer's mind should have a payoff at some point, and not just sitting there taking up space where another detail that could be more effective for the story could otherwise fit.
Yeah,
that's what I think. My favorite one in this movie was the bowling ball. This kind having one is good. They do weddings, and then that bride just hanging there. It's good.
Yeah.
I love the bowling ball though, because that's at the beginning. He's holding the bowling ball above his brother's head.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
It's almost the last scene. It's in the last 5 minutes of the movie where it's there. You see, and it's the name Lois. It's their mom.
Yeah.
Even the pale horse and rider was because I don't remember what the line is at the beginning. He mentioned, I think it's when he's talking to Elijah Wood.
He's
like,
no, it's when he's talking to his boss.
Yeah, to his boss.
Yes, to his boss.
And then Bill says it later, but serious.
Yeah.
It gets mentioned twice, and then in the very last scene, you're like,
that might as well happen. Also,
might as well throw that pale horse in there. And if he didn't have that scene at the end, he probably would have scrubbed the lines.
Yeah,
because that's another example of the rule of threes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we could talk a lot about the rule of threes. I tried to teach a bunch of middle schoolers today about the rule of thirds with framing, and some of them were interested. I used a scene from Avengers, and half of them were just like, "Can you stop pausing it? We just want to watch the movie." And I was like, "No."
we could just watch it. Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, Johnny hit the nail on the head of what it is and how it works in stories. I guess the other side of that is, and you've hit on this too, Johnny, earlier in the debate, you were talking about how this movie delivers on its promises. And that's kind of the most, I think that's what makes Chekhov's gun the most important, to honor it. It's what makes it most important as a writer to honor it, is because that is the other side of that coin. When you introduce something to me in the room, like Johnny's saying, like you can't describe everything that's happening all the time. That would be boring as fuck. So you establish expectations to your readers or your viewers when you introduce something. You are telling them that this thing is important enough that I'm pointing it out to you. So if I say Johnny had a whole bookshelf, he also had a drum set. And that drum set had this one particular type of drum. And it was this particular brand. Like, then we're wondering, why are you talking so much about this drum set? So I'm going to need to see that drum set broken over someone's head later on. Right?
Yes.
Something has to happen. And like Johnny said, it should get scrubbed out in editing if it doesn't come to bear some sort of fruit. Or it doesn't have to always be Chekhov's gun. Like, you can introduce something that doesn't have to later play a massive role in the story. But if you're going to include an important character detail, like any character detail, it should either enrich the setting, enrich the characters, or enhance or like move the plot forward, create some narrative movement, right? Chekhov's gun, those are bigger elements. Those are big things. Like the bowling ball is perfect in the monkey. It literally has their mom's name on it. That's literally what he's holding it literally over his brother's head at one point, and he's holding it over his brother's head the whole movie because he's trying to kill him because he killed his mother, and then eventually takes his head off. So it's like right on the nose. Symbolically, you really can't miss it. But that's okay. Like, it delivers upon the promises that it made. So I think that's the other thing to remember as a writer, is just that every detail you include should probably matter, and if it doesn't, maybe it doesn't belong, and you can include a better detail because your readers are going to expect things to pay off. I do think that is subconscious a lot of the time, but it's always satisfying. Like, the first example that jumps to my mind, and this will surprise nobody who listens to the show, is from Cabin in the Woods. But the Chekhov's gun in that is the merman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our boy.
One.
He really wants to see a merman. He bets on the merman every year. The Channing Tatum's character had not Channing Tatum. Chris Hemsworth. Those people are hard for me to
Yeah,
separate.
Chris
sometimes.
Hemsworth doesn't
Yeah.
Chan Tates at all.
He could. Let's take it
He
easy.
could if he wanted to.
He could certainly chan some Tates, but he doesn't. You're right. But anyway, he had the conch in his hand. He's about to blow the conch. It was so close. And then they spend time to talk about it. You know, there's not too many other of the monsters, and they have that whiteboard with all the ridiculous monsters on it. There's only 2 of the categories that they actually stop and talk about, and it's the 2 that like have a bigger part in the plot. The one, obviously, zombie redneck torture family, which is the ones terrorizing them and that wins every year. And then the merman, he's like, man, I'm never going to see that. And the other administrator's like, yeah, they make such a mess anyway, you know? So you're like, how is that like, you know, I got to see how that comes to fruition, because that's not what you think of really when you think of merman. It doesn't seem like the messiest monster on the board. And then they deliver on it, because its blowhole shoots out the blood while it's eating and everything. Is awesome.
Like Blender and Super Soaker all in one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like the first one that comes to my mind. But they were very intentional about like that merman being talked about, being pointed out specifically. And it's something that's different enough that it really grabs your interest. I think a whole nother thing is like the second one that comes to my mind is Pan's Labyrinth, but I think they do a really good job of blending realities early in that movie, because you see she follows a little bug that is very much a real bug, and then it turns into a fairy, and we don't ever know if that's just in her mind or if it's real. And the bug, it comes back in bug form, it turns into a fairy, but only she ever sees that, and that plays all the way throughout. And it's ultimately that bug getting eaten that like sets her apart from the fairy realm. So there's a whole bunch of, you can think of tons and tons of good examples of Chekhov's gun, but ultimately, those are some of the ones that jump to mind for me. And I think the most important thing is it establishes those expectations. We expect that is being pointed out for a reason, and it'll play a larger role in the story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Generally.
And oh yeah, man, I love a good Chekhov's gun. And like in this movie, there's basically one in every scene, because you know somebody's going to die as the result of whatever you're seeing, and you start looking for them, and you're paying attention, and like even the uncle's death, him being on like a hunting trip, is a Chekhov's gun for there being a gun in the house later, and like when Hal wakes up in the middle of the night sweating his balls off and turns off the AC that ends up falling off the roof and electrocuting that lady till she explodes. It's everything, and like there's like it feels intuitive, the Chekhov's gun, because everything you are shown as an audience member automatically feels like it should be meaningful in some way. And like sometimes, and this is where my favorite unintentional, we'll say, subversion of a Chekhov's gun comes in. It's like, I love when something that you are informed by other media should go one way goes another way. The best example of this I have ever seen is something that I've experienced with my wife, because she grew up watching a lot of like soap operas. And so now every time we watch a movie or a TV show and like the camera like pulls out looking in at characters through the window, she is 100% expecting somebody to be standing there watching the characters through the window, even when it doesn't make sense. Like she expected this several times in Gilmore Girls. Never happened. Never happened one time. And it's incredible.
I love that. I think I love, Clayton, that you talked about the kind of ones that like subtle ones that you know they're going to pay off, but you're wondering why. And no one will be surprised. The last like month I've been rewatching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So that's that's in my brain so hard. And I think the train heist scene has a great Chekhov's gun with the kid with the tarantula, because you're like, why is this episode opening with a random kid catching a tarantula? And then you figure out why, and it's brutal.
Breaking Bad uses that every single episode.
Yeah.
They always start with a weird thing, and you're like, what the hell is
is
this thing? How is this going to relate to the episode? And it immediately like programs your brain to be interested in the episode in a different way. And they find great ways to like subvert it all the time.
And I think that's been like every sequence with Mike in Better Call Saul. So I'm watching Better Call Saul for the first time. Never have watched it. And every Mike sequence is like, what the fuck is Mike doing? And then by the end, it's like, oh yeah, Mike's a genius. I should have expected that he had a plan that was going to pan out this whole time. Because usually it's like, what? Why is he like shooting in the air? What is going on? And then he's right, and he's Mike, and I love that.
Yeah, like when he, the one that makes me think of that is lesser known than like the train heist maybe, but like the one where he goes to that like factory to get chow, and he's got the balloons, and he like gives one to his daughter, and he's like, the rest are for me. And you're like, oh no, what's Mike gonna do with these balloons? I have no idea, but he's gonna find some way to like murder someone with these balloons. And he like lets him go into the power line, kills the power, and that's how he gets inside with the surveillance. And it's just awesome. Yeah, that shows the master at that.
I just watched the episode where he goes to he's like hired as a security consultant, but he's like receiving his checks at home, and he just like gets up and steals that guy's badge and like goes around and is like checking all of the stuff. And you're like, what is like Mike's just driving around in a golf cart this episode? Like, what the hell is this? And then it turns out he's like making it a better facade for him to actually be on the premise and be seen. So it's really cool. Anything else on Chekhov's gun before I move on?
Well, I mean, now that you guys mention it, I love it when a character serves as a Chekhov's gun, like their presence just kind of implies something.
Yeah.
One great example of this that comes to mind is the show Leverage. If you've ever seen it, you've got this wonderful crew of various expert criminals and thieves and con artists, and one guy who's just so good at punching, and he shows up. You're not totally sure how he's going to help, but you're pretty sure he's going to do some punching by the end.
He's here, so someone's getting
And he talks about how he doesn't like guns, so at some point, there's going to be a gun in his hand. Not every episode. Maybe like once a season.
Right.
Oh boy, you don't want him with a gun.
No, definitely not. Yeah, that's a good example too. Westworld does that well too, because there's the alternate realities, and so whenever you see somebody in the other reality, it's a bit of a key as to, where does this person actually belong? Is this person an actual person, or are they one of the simulated people? Same with Severance. Those both do that kind of thing, where it's anytime there's an alternate reality, you can get a lot of clues by when somebody is in the other reality and it feels like they shouldn't be. The Good Place, same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are good examples, Jeremy. All right. What's next, Trav?
Speaking of specifically characters, Johnny, this one's to you first again. But I want to talk about another thing I think this movie does really well, and that I'd love to hear a writer's perspective on, is which characters deliver which moments. Because sometimes I think what we expect and what we think is coming can be subverted. Sometimes it can be leaned into, specifically with like delivery of lines, delivery of moments. We've talked about subversion a lot with like tropes and such, but the example I'm thinking of that hopefully sets the question up better is we get the montage of death scenes, not from either brother, not from the son, not from any main character. We get it from the realtor just telling us like, oh, there's been a lot of death in this town. Describing this like laundry list of people. And we're getting these quick little hit scenes of like run over by a lawnmower, like hit by a train, like all this stuff happening. And it's just this innocent realtor who's like, yeah, in the last month, like 70 people have died. And you're like, oh my word.
At least one a day, sometimes 2 or 3.
Sometimes 2 or 3. Like that, I think the mundanity of her, like in her innocence in it, makes it even more It
Yep.
made it like more comical, but also darker. And so, yeah, I hope there's a question in there of like, how do you pick those weird moments where you know exactly what character's supposed to deliver a moment?
Yeah, I think with what you're talking about, I treat that, I think of the realtor as more of setting than an actual character. She's part of the place of what Casco, Maine.
Good point.
She's of the place. She's the setting there. So she's delivering the surround of what's been going on to these people who just come in and bringing they're the outsiders. Hal and little Petey are outsiders coming into Casco. Hal being gone for a long time, so she's establishing. Oh well, this is what's been happening. A lot of people have been dying in pretty weird ways. 1, 2, 3 a day. So in that sense, they're not reading it in a newspaper. It's film, so it's in the film medium. It's easy to have a person deliver that, but to show it visually. That little montage was fantastic. So the choice of how to deliver information in a visual medium like film or a television show versus a prose medium versus a stage medium, which is very different from even like a film, because you're not getting cutaway. You're not going to have cutaways and on stage to a montage of multiple deaths. Staging it, I don't know, but I think how you deliver that information is going to be determined. At least your options are going to be determined by the medium. And in prose, you could do it a lot of different ways. They could read about it, they could see it on the news, or they could hear about it in passing, or it could be just something that the dad Hal knows and he's thinking about, and is he trying to share it with his kid or not, because he's trying to protect his kid from this evil monkey. But in this particular instance, I think a lot of these side characters here are one-off. They're setting, Uncle Kip and Osgood Perkins and his sideburn glory. As Uncle Kip. He's part of the setting of that period. He's setting for that period of the twins' life. It doesn't last very long. But I think unless there's no arc there, it's background. It's information delivery. It's tension increasing. It's delivering new information for the people that we're supposed to care about. So I think a lot of ways that's, you're trying to raise the stakes or change the stakes for the main characters, and you can do that with a side character or background information, visual storytelling in the movie film. Or I think you have more options probably in prose because you're inside the head, and but in film, I think it was a really nice work. They didn't even come out and write and say, "Oh, someone's turning the monkey." It's just there's been a lot of death.
2, 3 a week.
You're thinking like, who's turning the monkey? Because I don't at that point had we seen Bill the twin. I don't think we had seen him as an adult yet.
Not yet.
So this is kind of leading up.
You've heard him on the phone. There's been one death.
Yeah,
and it's like leading up to that. But a follow-up question for you, Johnny, before we go to Clay and Jeremy is there a writer's equivalent, and this to you as well, Clayton and Jeremy, but is there like a writer's equivalent of the reading experience that I love so much and it makes me like attached to a book? Great example is the end of the Greenbone saga, where it's like there's 7 different ways the story can go in your head, and you're following it and you're like, oh, I think it's going to be this. I think it's going to be that. And then the author surprises you, and it's like not what you expected, maybe not what you even wanted, but you walk away from it being like, that's the only way it could have happened. And like, I wonder, because I know some people are pantsers, some people are plotters, but like, what does that look like from the writing side? Do you ever get surprised by your own characters of like, oh yeah, that has to happen now, and I didn't know it was gonna, but it does.
Yeah. Or as a writer, do I kind of feel railroaded by my characters?
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of different ways something can go. I am often surprised by my characters, even when I have major plot points built up, tent pulled out. They because of their actions to that point, do something different than I thought that they would do. And yeah, that definitely happens. That happened in my novella that's coming out. The main character and his final actions were not. When I initially scoped out the story and pitched it, I had an ending in mind that I was working towards, and then I just had to completely scrap it. And I wrote a couple of different endings, and like only one of them really worked with the character. And it was not the one. It would have been at the bottom of my choice to write it, but it was the only one that really gave a satisfying conclusion. So yeah, I think that happens all the time. When you're writing something that's longer, maybe in a short stories less, but kind of writing something longer. Yeah, I think if you're not surprised, you're probably not engaging in the creative process enough throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
Be creative until the end and surprise yourself.
I totally agree with that. I don't know that I've written too many. I don't know that I've written too many stories that is not the case. Where it doesn't change like pretty dramatically from the start, Are you guys still hearing me right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But yeah, in any of my longer form stuff, especially just because that's such a more lengthy, drawn out process, like the novellas, I've changed drastic things like, in Crevasse, the very first scene or the very first prologue there is like a character dying who in the earlier drafts was a main POV character. And I just found that when I got to the end, like all those scenes would be better served if they were in somebody else's POV. So that ended up being shifted in that way. And that character stayed in the story, but in a completely different fashion. And I think to Johnny's point too, speaking back to the original question, he made a really good point about how a character can be as much a part of the setting. Sometimes they're more about the character. Sometimes they have an arc. Sometimes they don't. They don't necessarily have to. And there are different options in different media. Oh, I'm getting a message here from Johnny.
Yeah, your sound cut out for Johnny, but
oh, okay. Weird. Okay.
It's there for us.
You guys still hear it? Okay.
Yeah,
Now
we can
Johnny's
hear
back.
you.
I hear Jeremy.
Hey. I feel
Okay.
so special.
Do you hear me, Johnny?
Yeah, I hear you both.
And you hear me? You don't hear me at all right now?
How weird.
He
Nope.
seems to still not hear me. That's super
Yeah,
weird.
it must be out of spite or something.
It must be. Yeah, a bit of spite
Well,
broadcasting here.
Hey, he's saying interesting stuff, Johnny.
It's so interesting. You're gonna really want to watch this episode.
All right,
later.
let's not rub it in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
come back at 1:35 and watch it.
There you go. There you go.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, I'll just keep going for now, and then I'll try hopping off and hopping back on, see if that fixes it. So, like I was saying, Johnny brought up really good points about how characters can be used in different ways, dialogue can be used in different ways, information can be delivered in a variety of different ways. And I think the most important thing is how you want that information's delivery method to affect the audience. Like, it's a very different experience if you have the realtor telling us that these deaths are happening compared to if you see it on TV or if you see it in the newspaper or if you hear it in an interior monologue. Like, all of those things deliver it in drastically different ways. So if it's on the news, like, that tells us that a lot of people would know about it. And it tells us that, like, we're engaging with it sort of at the same level as the character, right? We're both reading the newspaper. We're both getting this news from a source that is seemingly reliable and that, like, we could kind of take it as something factual on the outset, right? Now, news is maybe not the way people see news these days, and I don't blame anybody for that. But it's I think that's the intention behind delivering it in that way. If it's on TV, it's in the newspaper. If a realtor is telling us it in a very cheery tone, that is a bizarre way to deal with it. That is going to put us into the realm of the absurd. It is going to put us in this place where not only is it a sort of accepted fact in the town, but it's also sort of delivered as something that people aren't that worried about, despite the fact that they definitely should be. And the absurdism behind that is very much a major part of Osgood Perkins' setting, of Osgood's narrative structure in this story, right? So that's a very different way of delivering that information, and it affects us. It skews us completely different direction as the viewers when it's delivered to us in that way. Another thing we've talked about a lot on the show that does this really well is the Hitchhiker's Guide, right? Like there's so many ways to deliver information, but the Hitchhiker's Guide is masterful at delivering it in just such a way that it makes it hilarious. The ships floated in the sky exactly the way that bricks don't. And it's like it's the most bizarre way to say that that has ever existed, but it just makes it so funny. And it's the same information as the ships floated in the sky. But it adds another twist to it. So the way you deliver your information will impact your audience, and I think as the writer, you should be intentional about that. And that to me is because I think your original question, Travis, was kind of like, how do you choose those moments and how you deliver that information? So I just think you have to be mindful of how it will affect your audience and make sure you're delivering it in the way that does that the most effectively. An example in my own work that came just out of like a writing session, just kind of popped into existence out of nowhere. I was writing a scene, which if you read my second book, Invoices from the Cold Cairn, you'll know the scene when you get there. But it's a scene where the couple is fighting, and I was kind of trying to point out details around the house that show their relationship deteriorating. One thing that annoys me is the slow pan across family photos. So I kind of wanted to like mess with that. So what I had was all the family photos with their son in them have been turned face down. So that's like a sign that she's not dealing with the grief very well. And he goes around and turns them face up again throughout the day, and then she has turned them face back down like at 2 a.m. So it was kind of that sort of just showing those kind of things in the way that you want them to be seen can have a big impact on the audience. And that's something like somebody might barely notice that, and somebody might think it was a great detail, and somebody might think it was melodramatic. It will affect everybody differently, but ultimately it's your story, so fuck those people.
I like too that you mentioned the small scene with how the realtor is such a bonkers way, and it's even more so with her actions. Like after she like just explains this horrible parade of death, and then like 2 scenes later she's flirting with the she's like I shouldn't have said that. You are cute though. Like that whole thing. And it's like this lady is nuts.
Oh yeah, she'd back up on it if she had a little more time.
Oh yeah. But no, she didn't. She died like immediately after saying that.
Oh yeah. And like it's a testament to like, because in answer to your initial question, like it's equally the character as well as the world building, which, you know, Jonny was getting at with his answer. Like the entire movie has to effectively build to a point where the realtor's death montage makes sense. And you don't really get that in isolation. You get it with the babysitter being impossibly decapitated. Mm-hmm. You get that with like there being just a flamethrower in a pawn shop, and you get that with the priest giving
up. Yeah.
Fueled up. It's full on ready to go, and that's crazy. And you get it like with little character moments like the priest saying words at the funeral. They're like, "Oh fuck, I don't."
There's another Chekhov's gun too. I just thought of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, how they mentioned the flamethrower like 6 times in the movie, and then he burns the lady.
Chekhov's flamethrower, really good use of that one.
Sorry,
no, you're doing great, but like that stuff is just you have to have a world where these types of characters make sense, and that's when you probably discover the death montage from the realtor. Because I think anybody that's written anything and wanting that to be more character driven, having characters make sense, sometimes characters will just have a mind of their own. Like, I know I'm in the process of writing a kind of urban fantasy thing, but I did not realize at the outset that my main character would absolutely hate that magic is real until I started writing him, and he's just like, well, yeah, he is the wrong person. He would not do well at Hogwarts. It's just it makes sense. Like, the things that make sense for a character are always going to make sense, and if you write for the characters to make sense, sometimes unexpected things are just going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what makes things interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many more questions, but we are running close on time. So I'm going to jump to something we haven't done in a few episodes. Pretentious question of the week. So
I love a pretentious question.
Johnny, are you ready for some nose up in the air action here?
Sure. Let's throw it at me.
Okay.
I can stick my nose high.
One of the things I'm wrestling with this movie, so I'm really kind of trying to have a conversation here because I don't know what I think yet. And wrestling with another movie. One we've talked about quite a bit on the show is John Wick. I've been changing my opinion on John Wick a little because there's a level to which I don't think violence for violence sake should be celebrated as much as it has been in a lot of movies. And I always thought, like, John Wick's deep. I'm going to find the heart to it. But by the fourth movie, I was like, I think I'm kind of going to the theater just to watch John Wick shoot people. And like, that doesn't seem right to me. But there's something here about the monkey that it doesn't feel like that. And I don't know, the way I articulated it today is like, it is kind of this movie about chaos and dread and how death is and fate are like random. And it's like a warning to this, like, yeah, live your life because this could happen at any time. So I don't know, that balance of cynicism versus like gore as a sort of spectacle.
Sure.
Where do you personally, do you think that needs to be balanced? Do you personally think, like all of us, kind of opinion-based question, do you think it is okay to just enjoy torture porn kind of thing? And like, yeah, does the monkey do it, or is it doing something deeper?
So this, I think this is a question about violence and its place in the pantheon of things we as humans need and worship. We do worship violence. We are a violent species on a violent planet that is both trying to send us to our inevitable death while we struggle to extend our life for as long as possible. Against all odds, we are going to die. Whether it's now or whether it's sometime, for every person, it's going to be in the next 150 years. Like, you're not going to last. You're stardust. You're a speck. You're meaningless in a universe that's 14 billion years old, in a solar system that's what, 4 billion years old or 2 billion, whatever. What does any of it mean? I think is at the heart of the question. Now I'll compare how we present and process violence. I like that you brought up the John Wick films to contrast them to something like The Monkey. In the John Wick films, violence is a tool used by humans against other humans, and every action of violence has a purpose, rooted in vengeance or anger or whatever. Being paid. It's a world in which there are assassins in every major city who get paid enough to have a big fancy hotel in Midtown or downtown Manhattan. That's a lot of killing. I mean, that's a lot of sanctioned, paid killing. That's a whole economic system of killing. So that's very different than what we get in the monkey, which is maybe the person who cranks the key has a purpose. Maybe they just have curiosity, which is a different human thing that we have. What's going to happen? I don't know. Maybe it's just going to play a little drum song and remind us of being down by the sea. But the violence we get in the monkey is scarier than the violence we get in John Wick, I think, because we can't control it. There's not a person who might be reasoned with to put the gun down or their sword down or their knives down or their machine gun down or their tank. John Wick is a person who can be reasoned with. He's a person who was set off because a violent, angry young Russian mobster killed his dog, who was very special to him because he was given to him by his now dead wife. There's trauma there, but it's created by a human for human purposes, as opposed to the monkey, which is a very inhuman, unnatural. I don't want to say unnatural. That's not the right word. It's inhuman, though. It's outside of human. It's not necessarily superhuman, but it's inhuman. It's alien.
It's like cosmic.
It's cosmic. Yeah. It's unknowable. It's inexplicable. This thing. Why is it even taking the shape of a monkey? Is that just how it is now? What has this thing always been? It seems to always come back from our limited observation, but it comes back to kill at random, based on maybe a human curiosity, the consequence of an action we take without understanding or appreciating what the consequences might be. Or maybe we do appreciate, as Bill. He knows what it's going to do, and he just cranks it up, and it kills everybody at once.
It reminded me of, I'm big into theology and stuff, but this concept that is very heavy in like the Old Testament, of like washing yourself clean once you've touched a dead body, and people are always like, "What? That's maybe to avoid pestilence." It's like, no, it's because death was a mystery. It was this thing they didn't understand, and it just inevitably happened to everybody. And they didn't want mysteries to like enter the realm of God. So like, not to get into that, but like, that's a cool concept that's been around, and not just in the Hebrew religion, but in like several religions, where like touching something like death was like going outside of the human realm, and you're going to come back with something like a consequence on you.
Yeah.
And I think
you're
that's
tainted.
You're tainted.
You have a taint. You have you're bringing back the unwelcome and unknowable, the taboo things that we prefer not to think about and deal with in our everyday life.
Yeah, or like the Greek stories where they have to make the journeys to Hades. There's always like a process to enter and a equally strenuous process to exit.
There's a cost. There's crossing those boundaries always should have a cost. But I think that's we are violent things. We're bags of meat who have survived by killing more creatures than kill us, to give us homes and clothes and food. I think that's the nature of being alive, is the end of being alive, and the transference of all that you've built up and put into yourself back into the greater mass of living in the future. You wrestle and box. I wrestled for a long time. I boxed for a while. I practice martial arts now 4 or 5 days a week. I study violence. I practice it every day almost, in some fashion. I was in the Army. I was responsible for delivering vast amounts of violence on other people, which is a traumatizing thing. And yet it's required of life. You can't live without inflicting violence on other living things. We would suffer. We would die. We would starve if we didn't inflict knowing violence on other living things. No, Clay, you work a farm. You know this. This is how we live. We got to kill things.
Yep.
Other things got to kill us too, and we can't be in control of that. And it's a scary thing to know that so much is out of your control when we just want to have control over everything, and realizing that you have such little control there's a long on-ramp to that fear until you just accept it, and when you accept it, it becomes more manageable. It doesn't go away, but it becomes more manageable.
I have a follow-up question, and I'm gonna let you hog the mic for this last portion, Johnny. I hope that's okay, Jeremy and Clayton. He's our guest.
Yeah, he's doing
the
great.
Follow-up question is, I think that's all like beautiful, beautiful in like a weird sense of like great answer. I wrestle even more with, I think you're right about what the monkey's saying. Why are the scenes so funny? Like, that's the struggle. That's what Osgood's done, where I'm like wrestling in my mind of like, yes, you're saying something about chaos and death and the inevitability of all of this. And then you're also making it like not a joke, but funny somehow. And I don't know what's happening there. Can you speak to that a little?
I will look as an answer and offer the career of Jordan Peele, who is a hilarious sketch artist comedian. Just like Key and Peele is just one of the most hilarious shows that has ever been created by people.
Fantastic.
And because it undermines their expectations of what's going to happen. You know, and comedy does that. It veers and makes things okay. Even when, you know, some of their sketches are pretty violent. Like look at the stuff they've done with like zombie apocalypse sketches and dealing with police brutality. I think it goes up to the edge and then makes it okay. And the release of that tension, on one side of the knife's edge, we find laughter and catharsis. And on another side, we find fear and paralysis. And hopefully, if we process those, we can find catharsis on the other side. But they're both dealing with the subversion of our expectations of the norm. And I think what we find in a film like The Monkey is it goes on both sides of that, you know, and I think it does it really well. It's like you said, like, if you were actually at a motel and there was a beautiful woman outside getting ready to dive into a swimming pool and something knocked off an electric thing into the pool and you're trying to warn her, she dives into it and she explodes in front of you, you're not going to laugh in that moment.
Yeah.
You're going to be horrified. And maybe if you're used to being horrified like that, you'll think, I need to call the fire department, or like, you know, maybe I need to go take care of my son and make sure he's all right. But like, you're not gonna laugh. But as an observer of the film, I laughed my ass off. I thought it was hilarious because it's so over the top, and I don't want to deal with the thinking about, well, what if that was real? What if that was me and my son at a motel and this happened? Because I don't want to think about that. And so he walks us right up to that. Every kill in the movie, he walks us right up to that. And for the most part, he lets you fall on the funny side because he's trying to evoke a tone of, well, there's nothing you can do with chaos except hopefully find a laugh. Because if you want to get through this kind of stuff and wake up tomorrow, you're either gonna become like an utter cynical nihilist, or you're gonna find humor in it. There's not really a lot of other ways. There's not a lot of people who can make it through really violent trauma on an even keel. Like stoicism my stoicism broke down in combat, and I really tried hard to maintain it. But like when I got home, it took me years. I'm still going through it. I'm still deconstructing the concrete statue of myself that I built to make it through multiple combat deployments. I still am. That's why I write surreal military horror, because I'm deconstructing my past to understand how it affected me, and hopefully share stories with other people so that they know what we're asking our military to do, or if they were in the military, they don't feel so alone. or if they have someone that they know that they don't quite understand, maybe it helps them understand them a little bit better. It's wicked stuff. It's wicked. I'd rather laugh about it. It feels good to laugh. Laughing makes us physically feel good, even if it, like you said at the very beginning, I didn't really feel very good about how I laughed at that. Very comfortable with my own reaction.
Yeah,
that's okay. That means you're human.
I think to your point about the movie too, of like there is, I think, one death that doesn't evoke a joke, and it's the mom.
It's the mom.
Nothing about that scene is funny. It's just hard. And then the rest of them are.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And you see it in young Bell's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that. Yeah, it breaks him as it would.
And it's all so intentional. She's one of the only characters you give a shit about.
Yeah.
She's one of the only characters that has any level of empathy. Because even the two brothers, they're such assholes to each other that it's hard. And you know where it goes because they kind of like show you that first. So like you know it's headed in this direction. Right. The only character that has any level of empathy is the mother. And that also like, and maybe I shouldn't say any level. There's maybe some in Hal and Bill if you look for it. But the only one that I felt like intrinsically and felt genuinely like, oh, that was like a stakes establishing death was the mom. That was like the death that was like, hey, everybody's going to die in this movie, even the people that you actually care about, even if that is one people. But yeah. Just the one people. She's gone as well. And it was very impactful for that reason. I'm not going to really try to follow up Johnny because that was an excellent answer to the question. I just think the key to it is, like you're saying, Johnny, like acceptance. And I think the humor in this movie is very much intended to help you accept the chaos. And yeah, you already illustrate it really well. So great work.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, and I think the movie does a great job of this, where like the whole premise of it is framed through the lens of like it's told in the past tense, like, so the story is told from the point of view like, yeah, my mom died and that it was super fucked up, and that's again the only death that wasn't even like filmed in a funny way. It was just like, oh god, that's just awful. But like even the babysitter thing in retrospect, which was the first death that the kids witnessed, is just played off as a joke because it absolutely is in hindsight, and it's just one of those things where like the difference between comedy and tragedy is time. Like as you get more okay with stuff, as you get more okay, or at least more used to these crazy deaths that just kind of happen out of nowhere, chaos reigns, and that's just the world we're kind of living in. You do kind of have to find a way to feel okay. Yeah. And like it also goes to the point of like the like say rooting for violence in the John Wick films, because that violence is itself a form of like it's elevated itself to the form of art, where that is artistic violence, and you know anything can be pushed to that limit, and this movie does that with the gory art of over the top death.
Yep. Another trivia question or another trivia thing that was in IMDb was Osgood Perkins saying, "I am fully aware that most of these deaths involve much more blood than truly exists in the human body."
Perfect.
And yes, it does, Osgood. Speaking of that overabundance of things, we have extended ourselves to the end of our time. Johnny, thank you so much for being here tonight, my friend. It was awesome to have you. Before we let you go, we are going to rate this thing. So the Fermented Fiction rating system is you could say chaotic, you could say meaningless, you could say utterly unhelpful. We don't care what you say. We're going to keep doing it.
Because you're right.
You are right. You are right.
Yeah.
Chaos does in fact reign. And that's because the way we rate this thing is how many drinks or substances of your choice do you need to enjoy The Monkey by Osgood Perkins to the fullest extent? So that is the fullest extent being the most important denotion there. Like what would put you in the best mindset to enjoy The Monkey as much as you possibly could? And let's start with you, Travis, because I know you love this movie.
Oh man, I do love this movie, and this one's hard for me because usually I come up with something clever, but I think the movie's just too clever, and I can't think of much other than like drink every time there's a death, but that'd be a lot of drinks, and you can jogging during that montage. But I'm gonna say death. Okay, here's the really hard mode. You're gonna drink on deaths, the monkey when you see the monkey. And then every time a character's whole vibe is just like, what the fuck? And that's going to happen a lot. Because most the people in this movie are like, oh, that's a strange way to put what you just said. Even the mom, who's a great character, but like the whole deep philosophical exposition on death is chaos. And then we should go dancing. Like that's that kind of thing. You're gonna be like, all right, you know. So grab a
absolute psychopath.
Grab a 24-pack of beer and see how many of those babies you get through.
Beautiful, Jeremy.
Hey, hi everybody. Now,
hello.
As per usual, probably just pre-call the ambulance. You know, because like, look. There's no
schedule the ambulance like an Uber. I'm gonna need you in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
It's like you got 2 hours to get here. I'll probably be alive when you show up, kind of thing. Now look, there's no way to like gamify drinking along to this movie because like at a certain point you're probably just gonna pass out and or die. Like you drink every time there's a death, or you just. So I'd say
that's just twisting the monkey on yourself.
That's just twisting the monkey on yourself. What you got to do? Ride the monkey, not in a dirty way. Do that later if you feel like. But just ride it. So every time the monkey starts playing a song, you just waterfall something, you know,
for
the whole song, or whenever he's beating the drum.
Ooh.
I know he. Ooh. Yeah. Just absolutely go bananas. And obviously a shot for when Elijah Wood shows up and he's like, I've taken your power.
I've taken your power.
Like, let's arm wrestle right now. Like, what? Bro, why? And so yeah.
Also, the reaction that Theo James's character has when he's like, doesn't matter, I took your power. It's not like what are you talking about? It's like you can't do that. It's like he acknowledges that the possibility is.
I'm the top expert of my field. Who says I can't?
Like, I've taken your power. Like, excuse you?
The beautiful Elijah Wood, like random side character chaos arc continues, and I love it. I'm all the way here for it.
This rivaled his role in Sin City.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I'm gonna go the opposite of what I often say, which is don't consume anything the first time and then the second time cut loose. This rating is for people like me, people who maybe need to loosen up a little bit. If they're going into a movie that is kind of gore centric and you're going into it with a negative mindset, don't do that, because The Monkey is actually a lot of fun if you let yourself enjoy it. So go into it. And I like Jeremy's idea of waterfalling. I like the drink every time there's a death. I'm gonna say, go ahead and just drink every time you laugh and you know you shouldn't be laughing, which is gonna be basically every death. But it might happen a couple other times, like at those weird dialogue moments, and kind of incorporate some of what Travis and Jeremy were both talking about. You are going to need at least an 18-pack for this, possibly a 24-pack. It depends on how big your drinks are. But I think you should do that on the first watch, and then you should go watch it sober after that. because it's a very fun ride and it definitely warrants a rewatch. It's a good time, and yeah, if you like me and you're going into it thinking it's gonna suck just automatically because of the premise, you're wrong. You know, go check it out. It's a good movie. That's what I say. Johnny, what about you?
You said something that your answer, Clay, was very similar to what I was going to say, and I'm going to come up with something different.
Hell yeah.
I think to enjoy this moment or this movie to its maximum, in the deepest sense, I think you might not necessarily want to drink, but you might want to take some light psychedelics. And just be enveloped in the movie. You know, a little psilocybin, probably, you know, maybe a couple of microdoses. Or I think that's the way to really get into it. I don't necessarily, the dialogue is so fast paced and quippy. This is a movie that just it just rips along, you know? It's a 90-minute film. It's like it just hits it go from the moment Adam Scott walks into that pawn shop and doesn't let off the gas until that semi truck doesn't let off the gas when it passes the school bus at the end.
Yep.
So it never lets off the gas. So I don't know if I would recommend distracting yourself by trying to drink, because you might miss something.
Yeah.
So get into the zone a little bit ahead of time, sit down and hit play, and then don't worry about drinking because you're already there.
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't forget to turn the movie on. You would do.
Make sure
just sitting in your living room.
Someone else, please press play in 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
If I haven't pressed play, I need you to do it for me.
That's when you're calling
Spirit
the
guide.
That's what you're calling for Johnny's version. You're calling the Uber driver to come press play.
Yeah, just for that. Just for that.
Calling the Uber driver to press play and probably bring you some Taco Bell. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
it'll be great.
Great addition.
Perfection.
Johnny, one more time. Who are you? What do you got coming out soon that people can check out and that you're excited about? And where can they find you?
I'm Jonny Gensler. You can find my work on my website, jonathangensler.com, here on Substack. If you're in LA or like to travel to LA this summer in June, look for the Hollywood Fringe Festival. I have a show called The Ghosts of the Essex that I wrote and I'm producing. That'll be part of the Fringe. And later this year in November, look for my novella Brick Built Dad, under a small Bizarro imprint. It's gonna be fun. That's what I got coming up. JonathanGensler.com, and really, really happy to be here with you all today. Thanks.
We're happy to have you, man. And I will have those links in the show notes. I've got Johnny's website linked. He's got lots of short stories you could check out for free as well. And then there's lots of anthologies and other things that you could check out for a good price and support your indie authors and presses while you're at it. Speaking of supporting indie people while you're at it, please do like, comment, and subscribe, because we are an indie-based venture. Go to our Patreon and support us there if you want to pay us money. Don't worry. If you don't pay us money, we won't stop doing this. You can't stop us, damn it. But you could help us. You could help us make the show even better by checking out the Patreon. We'll have exclusive perks. We'll have access to all kinds of different things over there. So go check it out. Travis has put a lot of work into making that a really cool space. And yeah, thank you for being here, Fermented folks. We've been Travis, Clay, and Jeremy. Johnny, thank you so much for being here, my friend. We greatly appreciate your presence on the show and hope to have you back sometime. We'll see you at StokerCon. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.